Oh, what a lovely day.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. The sun is shining. The weather is sweet. Oh. What the f*** is that?
What is that?
When an oil rig appeared off the Bournemouth and Poole coastline, I was stunned. How was it that 4 years ago a wind farm proposal in the same area was rejected after an extensive public consultation, and yet this monstrosity, visible also from parts of the New Forest and Purbeck, could arrive with seemingly no fanfare? Where had it come from? I blamed myself. The rig was there because I was not. But it wasn't just me getting angry about this invasion, this totem of climate change, pollution, and unfettered capitalism rising up from the seabed like a middle finger aimed directly at me and anyone who gives a damn about the environment. I started talking to people, locals, environmental campaigners, politicians, but the people behind the ENSCO 72 temporary exploratory drilling platform, Corallian Energy, would not speak to me, and nor did Perenco, the operators of Witch Farm onshore oil field, which has been producing oil near Corfe Castle since 1979, nor Fraser Well Management. I would have given them a fair hearing, despite my biases.
I know, for instance, if I talk to my friends in London, they'd be saying, what do you mean there's an oil rig off Bournemouth Beach? Yeah, they'd be aghast.
And I was more than surprised that I don't understand why they are here. I think it's time to think about more sustainable ways of gaining energy, like wind energy. You've had your wind here. So
Morning, Mr. Parker.
Good morning, Mr. Beasley. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Fine.
I'm in the process of making a short film about the oil rig. It was a relief to see that you'd made your own robust objections to it. It was interesting to see that the award from TripAdvisor for Bournemouth Beach, it received the #1 beach in the UK award and the 20th in the world.
For the second time.
For the second time, of course, yeah. But I do wonder, of the other 20 beaches in the world that received awards, how many others had oil rigs, however temporary it was? It seems remarkable that such an asset for the local area could have been put in such jeopardy.
Well, not by us locally, of course. This is a matter of national legislation, and consent, with or without consultation, is not something made other than by the regulator for the government. So I think that's the perspective everybody needs to bear in mind. And I've faced criticism from some people that we should have done other things to prevent this happening, things which are well beyond any authority that we have, because our authority is limited really to the consultation and trying to hold to account those who are responsible. So yes, it does seem perverse, although on the other hand, if you think back to the formation of the gathering station at Witch Farm, that actually is tapping into oil reserves many miles off the same coast, then taken, I think it's 7 or 8 miles back to the gathering station underwater.
We have 40 years of data on this, on climate change. The rise of greenhouse gases seem to be on an exponential curve, and, so many other issues. Is a robust letter an adequate measure?
Well, I use the term beyond my remit on the basis that it is very easy for those in authority nationally to hit back at you if you do exceed that remit, and they will say, well, that isn't actually something over which you have any authority. I'm always anxious to be aware of that, and then to work hard within the authority that we have.
Neil Garrett Maidment is the director of the Seahorse Trust, a marine conservation charity which recently successfully crowdfunded more than £12,000 of legal fees to challenge the government in the courts over the oil rig.
We work with a collection of lots of organisations like Save Our Shores, Global Justice, individuals. It's a group of us that are objecting to this. Now, when I got the law changed back in 2008 and got the seahorses added to the Wildlife and Countryside Act, they were put under what's called Schedule 5, Section 9, and Parts 4A and 4B state quite categorically they are not allowed to be disturbed in their place of shelter. And we have data for the whole of Poole Bay, And right where they were putting the oil rig was where seahorses overwinter. And so we notified all the authorities. It was put in, they started work on it, and before we knew it, they had an extension of another month just granted to them. Even though we were saying the environmental impact assessment was illegal and not done properly, they granted this extension. Now, our solicitors have said quite clearly this extension is actually illegal. There's no ifs or buts about it. It's illegal.
The focal point of your trust is, of course, seahorses. Do you have any other environmental concerns regarding the drilling?
Oh, so many. Just during the period of the oil rig being there, whether it's by coincidence or not, we can't prove it definitely, but there's been 4 dolphins washed up dead, 1 seal, 2 seahorses, and who knows what else out there that has died. People don't realise that seahorses are also susceptible to noise pollution. It disturbs them and they get unsettled and they keep moving all the time, and that doesn't allow them to feed. And also seahorses naturally carry a number of diseases dormant in their body. Now, if they get stressed, which would happen if they were noise pollution or any other form of pollution, one of those diseases would take a hold of the body and actually kill the seahorses.
Chris Packham, you are a TV presenter and naturalist based in the New Forest. Am I right in thinking that you saw the oil rig at Poole Bay?
Yeah, I did. I was filming earlier in the year and I was down on the beach, and as the sun came up, I looked down westwards and this monstrosity was sat off the coast, looking big and brutal and ugly, and of course significantly out of place in that environment.
Whereabouts were you when you saw it?
I was at Milford-on-Sea, on the beach there. So it was distant, but it didn't mean it wasn't disgusting.
Yeah.
I think that there's a great case to be made for local energy generation and distribution. But quite clearly, at this time in our history, we should be looking towards renewable energies.
You said previously that the people have to do something because our politicians aren't.
Well, we've just seen a week of people doing things. We've had Extinction Rebellion on the streets of London, and it's been a most effective, peaceful protest. It's generated a small amount of disruption and disorder, but also an enormous amount of press around the world. I think it was a perfect example of civil disobedience. And our history is peppered with, periods of civil disobedience which have worked. Everything from Gandhi through to the suffragettes and the civil rights movement. And quite clearly our politicians are not listening to our scientists, and therefore they are incapable of making best informed decisions. And at this point in time, we know that we have independent authority, our scientists out there, telling us that we need to take urgent action, and our politicians are not doing it. They're preoccupied with the short term. And I think it's important for any elected decision maker at any level, whether it's parish council, local council, county council, UK government, global people, they have to step up to the plate at this time. And if they will not do it without our goading, then goading we must.
I saw that you were pictured on the BBC website sitting atop a bus with one of the protesters who was arrested at the Extinction Rebellion protests in London. You weren't one of the 1,000 people arrested, were you?
No, I wasn't on this occasion. I don't fear arrest. I have been arrested overseas. You've got to balance in life the contemporary law with the changing ethics. And I'm principally more interested in ethics than the law. Like every other citizen, I stick to within a framework of laws which I see as making sense. It's quite obvious that we can't all drive down the motorway at 150 miles an hour without chaotic anarchy and mass deaths. So we stick to the speed limit. It makes sense. But at this point in time, ethically, it doesn't make any sense to sit back and allow our politicians to remain inactive over this issue of our climate emergency. I have to state very clearly against any form of violent protest, destruction, so on and so forth, for the very simple reason that we don't need it. We've got the science on our side. We've got the moral high ground.
Then, about a month into making this film, I saw a different oil rig while at Highcliffe Castle. This one was being towed by tugboats to Morecambe Bay, but had to stop because of bad weather. But I saw it as more than that. This was a test. It barely matters if the rig goes to Poole or Morecambe or Timbuktu. In this goldfish bowl in outer space, which might be the only one capable of sustaining life anywhere in the universe, we are all participants. Every time you turn the key on the ignition in your car, every flight you take, every slab of beef, every internationally sourced product. I'm adamant that I do not want to see another oil rig off Poole Bay, but now it goes much further than that.